twilight, these sisters discuss the paranormal and the unnerving. They are known as the ParaSisters.
What's up, guys? It's Rebecca.
And it's Tristan.
And we are the ParaSisters. I have lag. Can you see my lag?
No, I actually can't.
That's weird, I can. I might edit this out. That's weird. I can see that I'm lagging. Oh well. I guess if you can't tell, then it doesn't matter. So let's just do that again.
I agree.
Okay? So 3, 2, 1. All right. Action. What's up, guys? It's Rebecca.
And it's Tristan.
And you are listening and watching, maybe, the ParaSisters.
That's right. Because we're the best.
Yes. Eventually, our fans and all that will catch up to us being the best. So we just have to be patient again.
You will.
One day people will know. Oh,
yes.
Gosh. Yeah. So, I guess before we get started, I'm going to do our little, I think it annoys people. It annoys me when I'm watching YouTube videos of people like, right now, subscribe and do a thumbs up and whatever, turn on the note. I'm just like, shut up. But I'm going to say that right
Whenever
now.
you guys get around to it, we'd appreciate it if you would share, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell.
That's right. And you will always see our beautiful content. Or,
It is pretty cool.
If you don't feel like watching YouTube, I'm not a YouTube person. I mean,
also not either.
If I can't find a song that I want to listen to, I go to YouTube. But other than that, I really don't use YouTube that often. So, yeah.
I honestly don't either. I watch our videos, and I watch some videos from some of the paranormal groups that are friends with us on Instagram, who follow us on Instagram. So I do watch some of their videos.
Yes.
Adventures with Nubs has been doing a lot of live videos that are pretty funny. So
I've actually seen a couple of those, and they are good. Funny.
They are funny, yeah. And our Raw Edge Paranormal, I love her. She's so crazy, man. She's so freaking brave. Like, she goes into these places that I would never go by myself.
Right. I would go there if someone were there to be terrified right next to me, but that's it.
Like me and you could go there.
Yes,
but
exactly.
I don't think that I would go in these places by myself. Which she, I believe, lives in England anyway.
Right,
and, and they have some pretty cool places there.
It's very similar to, of course, I'm fresh from Estes Park, and
yes,
I deeply wanted to stay at the Stanley, but I would never subject baby Nessie and Nessie to that. So, and of course, I will never do it by myself because I'm a huge chicken. So,
I know, we gotta go though.
Would
be so awesome.
Someday. All right.
Yes.
To business. I bet you couldn't even imagine what my thing is about. You couldn't even imagine, I guarantee you.
Do I get a guess?
If you want to guess, you can.
Bermuda Triangle.
That would be interesting, but no. Is that your only guess?
Oh. I think so. I don't know.
So I will tell you that it's an amusement park.
Ooh.
It is a functioning
Is it Lakeside
park. No, I didn't know. Is Lakeside haunted? It could be. It's old. It's rickety.
It's super old. Yeah.
It's like broken.
The last time I was there was still a functioning amusement park, which was like.
No, yeah, it's still open. It's
is it?
I don't know that people go there anymore, but it's like $5 to get in there. Ridiculous. Okay, so today we are going to be here. Oh, did we mention our podcast? I forgot. I was like right in the middle of saying, if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, listen to our podcast. Did I say that?
I think you did. but I don't remember
what's
now.
happening.
But just to reiterate, in case we did say this already, listen to our podcast anywhere that you can find podcasts.
By the way, I did not do this, but I happened to see that we are on Apple Podcasts.
Yay!
I was like, because I did a little Google search. If you just Google search the ParaSisters podcast, we are pretty much the first one that pops up. And I think if you scroll down a little bit, it says Apple Podcasts. And I'm like, I don't remember doing it, so I don't know how it happened. But
That's all right. However it worked.
whatever. We're there. We're everywhere. Check it out.
Divine
Anyway,
intervention.
that's creepy. Okay. The spirits put us on Apple.
I was thinking more like angels, but okay.
No, it's the spirits. I like these bitches need to be on Apple already. Alright. So today we are talking about Haunted Disneyland. Dun dun
Yay!
dun! I think this is really surprising because when you think of Disneyland or the Magic Kingdom, Disney World, you think of fun and happy and light, and this is not what we're talking about today. Did that sound spooky? I was trying to make it sound very dramatic and spooky.
It was extremely dramatic and spooky, I would have to say.
Yes. Okay. We're just going to go right to it. So Disneyland Park is what it's called now because they've changed the name in the 90s for some reason. Was originally just called Disneyland, and it is the first of 2 theme parks built at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. It opened on July 17th, 1955. And it is the only theme park designed and built to completion under the direct supervision of Walt Disney. So, Walt Disney died in 1966, so he at least got to see it open and functioning for a few years. And it was originally the only attraction on the property. Like I said, the name changed when they expanded the complex in the 90s. And, it was the original Disneyland, or Disney theme park. I'm not sure when, but Disney World came much later, so maybe I'll do some research on that. Maybe it's haunted also, I don't know.
That would be awesome.
So Walt Disney got the idea to open Disneyland because a lot of people went on tours of the Disney studios, but he eventually realized that a functioning movie studio was kind of boring. Like, there's not a lot to see there, you know? So he started looking around near Burbank Studios for a site, and there's actually a small plot of land across the street from his studio that he wanted to use, but it didn't actually work out because it wasn't big enough. So his whole idea started with a small theme park, or a play park, not even a theme park, with a boat ride and maybe some other themed areas. And he initially wanted to call it the Mickey Mouse Park, which I think he should have, honestly.
I agree.
And the idea started as an 8-acre plot, which was across the street, like I said. And then he actually started to go to other parks to get ideas. So he went to I've never heard of this, but apparently it was pretty famous back then, but it was Tivoli Gardens in Denmark, Efteling in the Netherlands, and Greenfield Village Playland and Children's Fairyland in the United States. I don't know where any of these places are, but
I have never heard of that last one, but I wish it still existed because it sounds amazing.
Children's Fairyland?
That's amazing.
Hello? Yes.
Yeah. Adult Fairyland. Forget the children. I just want to go to Fairylands.
Yes. And then
sounds fun.
Yes. And then there were some other ones, like Beaconscott Model Village and Railway in Beaconsfield, England. His designers began working on concepts, and the project grew to be too huge for the small plot of land. Like I said, the tiny little land wasn't big enough. So Disney hired Harrison Price, which I guess is a famous person that I've never heard of. But he was a Stanford researcher, and he kind of gave him the idea of what he wanted the theme park to be. So this guy went out and kind of he made this like, oh, this is what size of land you're looking for what you're going what you're going for now. So Disney eventually acquired 160 acres of orange groves and walnut trees in Anaheim, just southeast of Los Angeles. I can't even talk today. I don't know what's wrong. I can't remember things and I can't talk.
I can't talk most days.
The Burbank site, originally considered by Disney, actually, fun fact, is now the home of the Walt Disney Animation Studios and ABC Studios. So,
oh, how cool!
It didn't go to waste. So in the beginning, there were some difficulties in getting the funding necessary. So this, of course, prompted Disney to investigate different methods of fundraising. And he actually decided to make a show named Disneyland. And it was broadcast on ABC, which back then apparently ABC was not doing very well. But I think this did a lot to boost it. And of course, in return for putting this show on ABC, the network actually agreed to help him finance the park. So,
cool.
So the first 5 years of operation, Disneyland was owned by Disneyland Incorporated, which was jointly owned by Walt Disney Productions, Walt Disney, Western Publishing, and ABC. Which
I'm sure we're all owned by Walt Disney.
Well, I always thought, I guess, that Disney owned ABC, but maybe they didn't until recently. I have no idea. Like, I don't know.
I don't know either. As far as I can remember, they have owned ABC.
Well, The Wonderful World of Disney, that was always on ABC.
Right. Maybe that's because it was in partnership with Disney until Disney incorporated with... I mean, because Disney owns everything. They freaking own Star Wars now.
I know, it's ridiculous. Like, everything.
Right.
So, and also to help with costs, Disney actually rented out a lot of the shops that were on Main Street, USA, to outside companies, obviously to cut costs too.
Right.
So, by 1960, Walt Disney Productions bought out all the other shares, and a partnership which would eventually lead to Walt Disney Corporation's acquisition of ABC. That makes sense. In the mid-90s. It's crazy that it was only the 90s. So Walt Disney gets all this money and construction begins on July 16th, 1954. It costs $17 million to complete, which is an equivalent of $131 million in 2019.
Oh,
that's a
damn.
lot of money. Yeah.
So much money.
And it was so fast, right? Because the park opened 1 year and 1 day later on July 17th, 1955. I don't know how they built it so
really
fast. And actually, Route 101, which is the really famous highway, was under construction at the same time, just north of the site. And they actually, in preparation of Disneyland, they decided to add 2 lanes of traffic, 2 more lanes of lanes for traffic, just to accommodate the park's traffic.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, now that was the little history. I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about, but it could be boring. I don't know. So now we're gonna get into the meat and bone. Oh, I don't know. So Walt Disney, unfortunately, like I said, died in 1966. But I don't know if you know this or other people know this, but Walt Disney actually had an apartment in Disneyland over the fire station. Apparently, there's always a light burning in the upper windows, and it is never, ever, ever turned off, which is a tribute to Walt, because that was his apartment. So before this tradition started, or maybe they didn't know about this tradition, a cast member was in the apartment. She was leaving, and I don't, obviously just, that second nature. She turns off the lights, leaves the room, and then comes back only to find that the lights are turned back on. And
Ooh,
apparently, she comes in, sees the lights on, and she hears a voice say, "I am still here."
that's creepy.
I don't know. If you don't know, we're getting right into the spookiness.
No, that's fine. A little side note, real quick. They always said that Walt Disney was frozen.
Hmm.
That is an untruth. He was not frozen. He's actually buried in the ground.
So I've heard that they froze his head.
I I don't know, maybe, but I was going through like urban legends. Actually, not that long ago, probably a few months ago,
Right.
because I like to get material from urban legends.
Yes.
But and it's an urban legend that he was frozen.
I think everybody has heard this urban legend. I've always, I mean, when I was a kid, I thought it was true until I realized that wasn't.
I
I,
was I was like 2 months ago. I was that day old when I realized that
you're
uh,
like, this was 2 months ago.
Disney was not frozen. Because that's what we had always heard,
Hmm.
growing up. And so, just a little sidetrack note there that Disney is not frozen; he is buried,
Yeah, that's always been the story, is that he wanted to cryogenically preserve himself to be brought back to life at a later date.
which cannot happen. Just so everybody's aware of that.
Not yet. I'm sure science is trying to go that way, but it cannot happen.
Science is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why someone would want to do that. But now, I don't know. We could go off on a whole thing, but I will say really quickly
Yeah,
that
yeah.
now they're talking about saving your memories and being able to implant them into someone else's
No,
brain or subconscious. Yes.
absolutely not.
They're going for it,
No,
man. Anyway.
not for me. Not for me.
No, I don't know that could even work. I don't know. It seems strange to me, but whatever. Anywho,
Why would you even want to? I don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand people, Rebecca.
I don't either. I don't try to anymore, honestly. I'm just like,
I don't either.
whatever. Do whatever you want. Ruin all your shit. I don't care.
Whatever.
I don't care. So yeah, okay. So I think Walt Disney is, he's hanging out at the fire station. It's like, this is my spot, man. This is my spot.
Well, it was obviously a labor of love for him. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently, like, he would tour around all these theme parks. I named some of them, but, like, with his daughters. And I'm imagining, like, going and seeing which things are the funnest, like, with his kids, which is, it's very heartwarming. Of course,
It is.
oh, we won't go into it in depth, but I've heard that Walt Disney was probably not the nicest of people. But there's a lot of theories and conspiracies, and I don't know what's true and what's not, so we're not going to bring that up. But he's hanging out in the fire station. That's all that matters.
Yes,
I
which I
actually,
find very cool.
I actually wonder if you can take like a tour of the fire station. I'm gonna look that up at some point to see if you can like look at his apartment in the fire station.
Okay,
I've seen pictures of it, and I think there's even like a fire pole in the like goes through his apartment down to the to the actual fire
that's very
station.
cool.
All
That's
right,
very cool.
so we're gonna move on to Space Mountain. Now, I have been to Disney World. I've never been to Disneyland, so a lot of the stuff like they have it at Disney World, but it's not the same as Disneyland, obviously.
I have been on Space Mountain at Disneyland.
Oh, so maybe you saw Mr. One Way. He is apparently described as a large man with red hair and a red face, and he is called Space Mountain's Mr. One Way. And the legend kind of goes that he sits in a cart next to single riders. And so you're on this ride, and he's sitting next to you. I don't know if you can see him or if, like, there's, like, you know how they take pictures, and maybe he's, like, in the pictures, like. But apparently by the end of the ride, he's gone. And they've also spotted him in the cast member locker rooms. I don't know what he's doing in there, but that's not right. That's not right.
It's not.
There's almost no information about Mr. One Way. It's not like, hey, we think it's this guy or this guy. This is just somebody or something that people have seen randomly on Space Mountain. And I will say
How
that
odd.
I think later on, I don't know if it was Space Mountain, but Tristan, there are so many accidents and incidences at Disney World or Disneyland. It's insane.
I know.
Like, it's insane. So, I don't know why I put his first, because I did want to kind of start at the beginning. And it started in... Sorry, my mouse is... So yeah, I should have done these in chronological order, because I wanted to for some reason. So, we're going to go back to June of 1966. And the park has only been open for 11 years. I don't know if Walt's dead already, but I kind of hope he is, so he doesn't know that this happened. So, 1966, a teenager, for some stupid reason, tries to sneak into Disneyland for grad night by climbing a fence and crossing the monorail track. He is spotted by security, and when they tell him to stop, he starts running away. And I'm not sure if he slips or falls. Maybe it'll, because I have an actual article from when it happened. But he is actually hit by the monorail and dies.
Oh my gosh.
Which is terribly sad. It's awful. So,
Yeah.
this is a newspaper article. And this is the headline. It says, Monorail kills youth climbing on tracks. Anaheim, California. The Disneyland monorail train Friday night slammed into and killed a 19-year-old youth who had climbed 20 feet to a trestle in an apparent effort to gain free entrance into the Anaheim amusement park. Thomas Guy Cleveland of Northridge was crushed between the train and a protective plastic canopy which extends on the other side of the monorail trestles beneath the track. Investigator, it says investigating officers, I just said investigator, said the boy had scaled 2 chain link fences, one 6 feet high and the other 16 feet high, to gain access to the track at a point where it crosses the employee parking lot. Disneyland spokesman said the accident occurred at 9:25 p.m. when the monorail was grinding toward its Tomorrowland stop at 25 miles per hour. Operator of the monorail, Dallas Baker, told police he didn't see the youth on the track before the accident and was unaware of anything unusual until he felt a bump. And the train stopped because apparently it lost power at this point. I'm pretty sure monorails are ran by an electric... The middle rail is like electric.
Like subways.
Yeah, exactly. 3 security officers, Theodore John Thomas, Paul L. Williams, and Earl Bruce Noren, saw the youth on the trestle before he was struck, Anaheim police said. Williams shouted a warning to the youth to get down, and the youth appeared to crouch down on the canopy, the police said. He said then he watched in horror as the 4-car train struck the youth and drug him under its carriage. Police said all 4 cars passed over the victim. Investigators said the boy's body was badly mutilated in the mishap. A spokesman for the amusement park said passengers riding in the nose cone of the train reported feeling a bump but were unaware of the accident. The train was stranded for about 10 minutes, then was towed into the next station by a worker. Or by a work car, not a worker.
How awful.
Yeah, it's really sad. Like, to try to get into a park for free, you've now killed yourself. I don't think that's necessary.
think that's a little extreme karma. What do you think?
Interesting. Did you just look this up?
Yes.
Andrew just handed me a paper, Nessie, that said apparently in 1955 it cost $2.50 to get into Disneyland.
Holy cow.
Yeah. He's saying that's maybe like a 5,000% markup to what it is now. Which it's about $150, I think, to get into Disney World. I don't know about Disneyland.
I think it's about the same if you want to do the park hopper pass.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they're awesome. I'm not going to lie. They're awesome.
They are awesome. We want to
Yeah.
go to Disneyland.
So, so now this poor boy is dead, this poor 19-year-old. But it is said that a ghost, or the ghost of the teenager, is seen at night running alongside the monorail that killed him. So people can look
that's
out and
scary.
see him running alongside the monorail, probably reliving the last moments of his life, if I had to guess, over and over again.
Right, on a loop.
Yeah, which is really sad. It's awful.
That is sad.
This is also quite sad. So in 1984, 48-year-old Regina Young of Fremont, California, died while riding the Matterhorn at Disneyland Park in Anaheim. She fell from her seat. She was on the bobsled ride, which I've never been on. I don't know anything about it. But apparently she fell from the seat and she was actually struck by another bobsled coming down the track and she was actually decapitated. Isn't it awful?
That's extremely awful.
According to investigations, for some reason her seatbelt wasn't buckled, and since she was riding in the car alone, they're not able to determine whether or not she unfastened her seatbelt or if something happened. There's like a malfunction. Her family did actually end up suing Disneyland, and in 1988 there was a settlement, but they don't really say what it was, obviously.
Right.
So now, though, the cast members, they call the Matterhorn gets, or sorry, not get. I don't know. I was reading something else as I was thinking of something else. The Matterhorn is actually, they call it Dolly's Dip, and for some reason, I don't know if Regina's nickname was Dolly or not, because when I first looked it up, they described her as her name being Dolly. And then I saw actually in a different article where it said her name is actually Regina Dolly, I think is what it is. So,
Oh, okay.
but apparently to these cast members, Dolly's ghost actually haunts the whole entire ride, although she focuses particularly on the Dolly's Dip area, which I think is where she probably fell out and was struck by another bobsled. And so there's actually, in 2016, a former cast member who writes under a name Kristen on the website Wander Wisdom, which I've never heard of, but
I haven't either.
she actually says, I worked on that ride for several years, and I never saw her, but I sure did feel her.
Creepy.
Yeah, so Kristen, she writes that she spent 6 years as a ride operator in Fantasyland in the early 90s, which meant that she handled the Matterhorn regularly. That was part of her routine. And at the time, she said that part of her end-of-day duties, once the ride had closed, would involve two people talking, I don't think that's right. I wrote talking. Taking the track. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the hell this says. I think it was supposed to say walking the length of the entire track of the ride to look for lost items. And she said, quote, every time I was unlucky enough to get a track walking shift, I had an uneasy feeling like someone was watching me. And she also wrote, the feeling was also always the worst in the big cavern in the middle of the ride and at Dolly's Dip. the spot where she died. In fact, the work lights in the tunnel near Dolly's Dip always burned out. And she says in the 6 years that she worked there, she never saw those lights working.
Wow.
So, yes. The poor Regina, that's an awful, awful story.
It is an awful story. And awful happenings afterwards.
Yeah. And so there are other claims of people seeing things, but none of them, they're all like third-hand accounts, you know? This is the only actual first-hand account of an employee that worked there where, you know, and I actually believe her because she's saying, I never saw anything, but she always had like the overwhelming feeling that someone is watching her, like, which is creepy in and of itself, I think.
I wonder if Disney would let like paranormal groups in to do investigations.
Probably not.
I would not assume so, but it would be very cool.
I think that would be freaking awesome, but I could imagine that they wouldn't want that kind of stigma attached to their...
Yeah. But I'm very curious. I was just wondering because I'm very curious to see what the EMF readings at Dolly's Dip are.
Yes, just to get... Oh, man, that'd be cool just if you were going to write it, just to take one in there and see.
Right, like an EMF meter.
Of course, I don't know the Matterhorn that well, but I'm assuming you're speeding along on a track, so it might be hard, but
still be fun.
That'd be freaking awesome. So now there's a woman in white, which we've done a show on the ladies in white, and this is a little different because this is a woman that guests claim to see, and she is apparently dressed in 19th century clothing, and she's spotted on Main Street after dark, and she kind of just is walking down Main Street. And the legend is that she actually is kind of nice because she guides lost children to the Disneyland Baby Care Center, and where they're eventually reunited with their parents. So, a lady in white.
How odd. I wonder if she's some kind of residual energy from the land before Disneyland was there.
Yeah, the orange and walnut groves, yeah. I wonder if she actually, you know, back in the day, maybe they owned the land and they had a kid go missing on the land. I don't know.
Maybe something happened with her own child and now she's there just to help children. Yeah, I don't know. That's very interesting because normally ladies in white are not benevolent spirits.
No.
They're normally very malevolent spirits.
And of course, if you're watching this, I highly recommend going and watching our case on the lady in white.
I agree. Yes, because it's very interesting. Like just that whole phenomenon is interesting.
It's crazy, right? And they're literally seen everywhere across the globe. It's not even like
at Disneyland.
Obvious, yeah, that's what I read it, and I'm like, there is no information about it, but I thought it was so crazy that there's a woman in white at Disneyland guiding children to a place where they're safe and can be reunited with their parents. Like,
I don't know. I think that's very cool to have a lady in white there. It's got to be a residual energy there.
Yeah, I think so.
From the land itself.
I just had the thought of, could you imagine being that child that's lost and this woman is like guiding you to this place and then what, does she just disappear? Like,
right. And what's funny though is I think that as a child you probably wouldn't even think of something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. It would just be a nice woman helping you, but
yeah, this nice lady in an old dress helped me get here, you know. Like that's what a child would see.
That's true.
They wouldn't think anything of it after that, you know. And if no adults have seen her.
Yeah, because it doesn't say who has seen her, but I'm guessing some kids at some point had said, yeah, this lady helped me find my way here.
Yeah.
They'd be like, and of course parents would assume it's like a cast member or like a, you know, like a good Samaritan even, you know, so. Interesting. Right. I feel like I need to go to Disneyland now.
Right.
I don't even care about Disneyland, but I want to go.
Just tell baby Nessie, pretend to be lost.
Yeah. Stand here and look lost. See what happens.
I'm gonna videotape you from over there. Just stand here and pretend to be lost.
Gosh, I'd probably go to jail for that. They'd be like, "What are you?" And it's in California, so you know they're really harsh about what you do.
Oh, I know.
Oh, that'd be actually really funny.
we could have baby Sassy stand with him.
Yeah, just two kids lost. Like, oh, where are we?
Right.
Like using our kid as bait for ghosts. Your ghost bait.
Why not?
Yeah, they'll be fine. That shouldn't scar them too much, right? They'll be fine. We're good.
I know that, I know that baby Nessie is not into scary things as much as baby Sassy is, so.
No. I wouldn't want him to be, because he already, like, I think I told you that once he watched a YouTube video about shadow people. And for, like, nights on end, he was, like, obsessed with, like, shadow people. I'm like, stop it. And then, of course, you know,
things like that.
It was Siren Head after that. And I'm like, baby, Siren Head is not real. It's completely made up.
Right. It's something new.
And I'm like, he didn't believe me at all. And then it was like cartoon cat. And I'm like, you're afraid of a cartoon cat? And he's like, no, the name is Cartoon Cat. And I'm like, that doesn't sound scary to me.
You know what creeps me out? It used to be a video on YouTube. I'm sure you can still look it up, but salad fingers.
What?
Oh, and it's kind of like that. And he's got rusty spoons. Oh, yeah.
I just almost spit my drink all over Andrew's computer.
Dude, okay. When we get done recording, I want you to look up salad fingers.
Oh god. Oh god.
It is the creepiest damn thing ever. I'm pretty sure it's actually evil. Like,
oh god, I can't even. Now, is this something that someone has made up? Like,
it's a cartoon.
Like Siren Head. Oh, it's like okay.
Yeah, just look it up. It is creepy, man. I'm telling you, it's completely evil.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, I think I only have like 2 or 3 more little stories left. Okay. So, there's another legend about the Haunted Mansion, which we actually rode that in Disney World, and I thought it was really cool. I liked it.
I want to go. I never was able, because Haunted Mansion was closed when I went to Disneyland. It was closed because they were remodeling it.
Oh, yeah.
And I really wanted to go on that ride, and I still have not been.
It was cool. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I like the ones that are slow, and I don't know. Callum, the baby Nessie, he loved it was Goofy's Barn Burner, I think it was called. It was like a crazy roller coaster for little kids. It was so much fun.
How fun.
It was cute. So the legend is that the Haunted Mansion is actually haunted for real by the ghost of a boy. And apparently this boy's mother, he died at some point. There's no information. I don't know who any of these people are, but the mother of the boy takes her son's ashes after he has passed away and smuggles them into Disneyland and thus into the Haunted Mansion, and actually spreads the ashes. I don't know if while she was on the ride of the Haunted Mansion or what, but it's said that she does this. And it's funny because I'm doing research and Andrew's like, he's like, I've actually heard of people doing that, and he's like, that they've made it like a rule where you're not allowed to do that. And I'm like, isn't it weird you have to make a rule about that? You would think that people just wouldn't do that shit.
Right, like it's an actual rule. That's ridiculous. And not to mention that human remains, whether they're cremated or not, are extremely unsanitary and can give you really bad diseases.
That's freaky. That's freaky because I'm sure we've all seen that movie, any movie, where they're spreading ashes, and of course the ashes like blow back into people's faces.
Right. Right. It's extremely unsanitary. And actually, if you breathe in human remains, it can give you really bad lung infection.
That doesn't surprise me. And of course, I personally am picturing The Big Lebowski.
I love that movie.
He all flips the can over.
Oh god. John Goodman. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. This is not a funny story.
It's not. That's not a. No, what we're talking about is not a funny story. But The Big Lebowski, if nobody has watched that movie, it's an older movie. It is fantastic. It is
Oh my gosh.
hilarious.
I think Jeff Bridges is probably one of the most talented actors I've ever seen in my life. He's so
For
funny.
real. He is. That movie's great.
Cut off your Johnson. The nihilist, man. The fucking nihilist. Oh, my God.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Anyway, so this boy is kind of seen just hanging out, I think, at the exit for some reason of the haunted mansion, which makes it even more spooky because he's not even in there with the other spooky things of the haunted mansion. And actually, people claim to see, if not the same one, a very similar boy in the Pirates of the Caribbean. So maybe he liked both rides, so he goes back and forth between the two. So this one's all, I mean, they're all fairly sad because there's a lot of death at Disneyland. It's like a lot. I didn't even.
Although I think they have a very low. Remember when we did our when I did that one about the haunted amusement park?
Yeah.
The Shawnee Haunted Amusement Park.
Yes.
I think there was probably more death there than Disneyland in all the years that Disneyland's been open.
So Disneyland has been open for quite a while, and there's a lot of accidents. There's a lot of deaths, but not like a ton of deaths. But
No,
we're paused. Tristan's listening to someone. A sassy.
Baby sassy.
A little sassy.
All right.
Yeah, there's like, if you go to Disneyland's Wikipedia page, they actually have a list of deaths and accidents, and I did not include a lot of them because there weren't like backstories about hauntings involved with them. But there are actually quite a bit, and I think the most recent one was just 2019. And a guy was actually crushed. He was a contractor, and he was crushed by or not crushed, but he was hit with like a steel plate that fell on top of him while he was like in this trench working. So,
Oh my gosh.
it's quite sad, yeah. So on June 22nd, I just realized that a lot of these are, well, of course, the summer, because that's when everybody goes, but
The height of the season,
but
yeah.
they're really close to like the same days. So June 22nd, 1973, 18-year-old Bogdan and his 10-year-old brother Dorian Delarue, I think are their last name, they were visiting Disneyland. They had traveled from Brooklyn to California with their family. I don't know when or who thought this was the good idea, but as Tom Sawyer's Island was getting ready to close for the day, the brothers decided that they wanted to stay. They didn't want to leave. So, staff is loading visitors onto boats to return to the park from the island. And Bogdan and Dorian actually jump a fence and hide in the woods behind the burning settler's cabin. I don't know what that is. I've never been to this place. So
I don't think that ride exists anymore.
it might not. I don't know. So I think this is just an island where you go and explore stuff. I'm not sure that there are rides on it or not, but it's Tom Sawyer's Island. So
Okay.
around 9:30, the brothers decide that they don't actually want to be on the island anymore. So they decide they're going to leave the island and go back to the main park. But because they were worried about getting in trouble, they thought it would be best to swim across the rivers of America rather than call people for help to take them by boat. Of course, the downside of this was that the younger brother, Dorian, did not know how to swim. So the older brother decided that he was going to carry him on his back, which is fine if you're a good swimmer. But halfway through the river, the older brother, Bogdan, slips and actually ends up drowning. And Dorian, who did not know how to swim, was somehow able to doggy paddle to stay afloat. He's doing this. And he did that until staff came in a boat and actually saw him treading water and were luckily able to rescue him. Disneyland security officers and Anaheim police and firefighters spent the next 8 hours searching for Bogdan, and his body was actually found the next day between some fake rocks, actually near the shore of the island. So people claim now that Bogdan, poor Bogdan, he's also stuck in a loop just like the monorail kid. But they claim that if you look out to the water, sometimes you can see a ghostly figure swimming across the rivers of America. And he's actually not the only person that's ever drowned in the rivers of America. But the other ones were people like took a boat. They like stole a boat, and one of the people fell off and drowned. So,
oh my gosh!
Don't steal boats, okay, in Disneyland, and don't try to stay on islands where you don't belong.
Right. How scary is that?
Yeah, it's awful.
It's extremely sad.
So sad.
So, side note, and was that your last one?
No, I have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This should be...
I want to see if you're going to cover it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so the People Mover. This is a ride that does not exist any longer in Disneyland. I don't know why. I don't know why they took it away. But, so, 1967, a 17-year-old boy, for some reason, decides to get up out of his cart, and I think they were saying he was trying to switch carts, maybe probably between, like, his cart and, like, a friend's cart or something. I'm not sure. But he actually ends up falling and is crushed beneath the oncoming cars. So he's passed away there. In 1980, the People Mover kills again, crushing another young park visitor in the super speed tunnel, as this person also attempts to move from one cart to another. So I'm not sure what the first kid was doing. He may have been doing that, he may not, but this kid definitely was. And his body was actually dragged for more than 100 feet before the operator was able to stop the ride. And so, I'm not sure who they're saying this is, but the legend goes that one of the two kids that were killed at this spot, they have not left. Their ghost haunts Tomorrowland, which sounds weird, right? But then I was doing some really digging in. The People Mover ride closed in 1995, and for some reason, they did not get rid of the tracks. They took the tracks and they actually housed them in Tomorrowland. And they've actually paint them when Tomorrowland gets a little upfix, they do the same thing to the tracks that are just kind of sitting there. But apparently this ghostly boy has an affinity for blondes, and he is reported to grab the hair of blonde guests.
No.
Yep. He'll
Never going to Tomorrowland.
You will play with your hair. Hello, Tristan.
Nope.
It's funny that they don't say which one they think it is, because it could be the 17-year-old or it could be the other one. It doesn't even say how old he was, but apparently the People Mover was a very dangerous ride to go. I just thought it was so creepy how they're like, oh, Tomorrowland, and I'm like, why is he in Tomorrowland? And then when I read that the tracks are in Tomorrowland, I'm like, that's interesting.
I think it's very creepy that ride was called the People Mover.
Yes. It's so creepy. I don't know.
It reminds me of like the body shoot.
Yes, the body. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I should have looked it up just to see like a little video of it or something. I don't know.
That's weird. I don't like that. I don't like that the ride was called the People Mover.
And it has
What the
claimed,
hell were they thinking?
and it killed 2 people on the People Mover.
Right. But it sounds creepy. It sounds like it should kill you.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I mean?
obviously if you jump on the tracks, it will.
It sounds like a horror ride, like more so than the Haunted Mansion.
Oh my gosh. I wonder what it I might have to look it up when we're done.
Yeah, it sounds creepy.
It does sound
You remember
creepy.
ride
Like,
on the People Mover? No,
yes.
that kills you.
It sounds
Yeah.
so weird.
I would never ride on the People Mover. It's an odd sounding ride. I don't even like the name.
No, and I don't know if they kept the tracks for cost efficiency or what, in case they needed to replace tracks. I don't know. Like, I just think it's
I don't know
so
either.
creepy now that the kid is haunting Tomorrowland because of the tracks from the People Mover.
I don't even want to go to Tomorrowland now.
No.
The People Mover.
Callum loved the People Mover, Tomorrowland at Disney World. He loved it. They had like a racetrack and stuff. It was really cool. Yeah, he loved it.
So my little story is on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
They actually used real skeletons in the beginning.
So I've heard that it's so funny because I read a bunch of other stuff where it's like, oh, this woman died of a heart attack on the Haunted Mansion because it was so scary. And then,
if it's anything like the movie, I doubt that it was that scary.
no, yeah, but it's crazy that they used real skulls because I've heard that, and I don't know where they got the skulls, but it's crazy.
I remember reading this story, and I think they got it from a medical school.
That's
because when they tried to make the skeletons in Pirates of the Caribbean, they weren't lifelike enough. Like, you could totally tell that they were manufactured skeletons.
I think I've heard that.
So somebody came up with a brilliant idea. Why not use the real skeletons?
Yes, that is a brilliant idea.
Well, yeah, because they're lifelike, because they are lifelike.
They are real life.
Right. But but they no longer do that anymore. They actually took the skeletons out because there were reports of hauntings on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, so they
should have left them.
And sometimes the skeletons were too scary. And I actually heard, which is just rumor, that there is one real skeleton left on Pirates of the Caribbean.
They should move that to the Haunted Mansion.
Right?
They should get some real hauntings going on there.
Which, I mean, like, if you go to Las Vegas, like, they have the Bodies Museum there.
Yeah.
Which is extremely creepy. It's so interesting to see because, like, literally, they take whole human bodies.
Yeah.
And they, like, cut them wafer thin.
Yes.
And they dissect them in, like, wafers.
Yeah.
So you can see each part of the body. And it's very creepy, but it's so interesting, too. But it's extremely creepy because you're like,
those are
that's
real
a person.
People. Yeah. So they have that. I don't know if it's the same thing or not, but they have like it's like a traveling exhibit, and it's bodies, but they are like skinless bodies, so you can like it like you see like their bone structure and like their.
It actually might be Bodies because I think Bodies was a traveling exhibit.
Yeah.
The last time I saw it was at the Luxor, and that's been quite a few years now. But yeah, they do have like the skin taken off. They have like the muscle taken off.
Yeah, because
like different parts of your, you know what I mean? It's like different sections of your body.
Yeah.
Like they show everything.
So like it's seared in my brain because I don't know why they would show you some of the exhibits that they have, but one was like a kid pose, like he's playing soccer, and then one was of like a pregnant woman with like a baby in the womb still.
I know that's.
I don't like that kind of stuff. Okay, I just don't like it.
I don't like it either. It's very creepy. It's extremely creepy.
It's morbid. I think. I think it's just like, how interested are you in dead bodies? Like really.
Right, like if you were like a medical student, I could see that. You know what I mean?
Yes, I would. But then, if you're a medical student, they have things like that for you.
Right, but I mean, it is extremely interesting, but it is extremely macabre
Yeah,
at the same time.
I don't like it.
You know
I
what
would never
mean?
go see something like that. I gotta be honest with you.
Which they do have like oddity museums that I would love to go look at.
Dude, have you ever seen that show, Oddities?
Yeah,
I love
I
that show.
have, and I'm like, I want to go to one of these museums and see their oddities. Honestly,
Yeah, I don't mind oddities. I think that in general they can be super interesting and extremely odd, which I appreciate.
I also appreciate odd.
I kind of draw the line at dead bodies, though. I'm not interested in that.
I don't know. See, it's like, I don't know. So I was like worried about myself the other day because I listened to a true crime podcast, right?
Yeah.
And then like I either listen to our podcast if they don't have anything good on because I think we're interesting.
Of course we are.
Plus I just like to review it and make sure that everything's good. It turned out well, you know.
Yeah.
But I so they're like on this podcast, they're like, if this doesn't bother you, there may be something wrong with you. And I'm like, it kind of doesn't bother me. Is there something wrong with me?
It's
But I also like the way I look at stuff like that is like, yes, it saddens me and it disturbs me. But I also look at it in a way where I think that I would have made a very good investigator had my life been different. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because I can I can put it in different compartments in my brain.
Compartmentalize. I can't even say it either.
Yeah. And so but I was worried about myself. So I don't know like
Like, am I
the bodies
disturbed?
museum am I disturbed, right? Because the bodies museum, the bodies exhibit was creepy to me, but I don't think it's as creepy as it should have been. You see what I'm saying?
Interesting. I don't get I get sad for people that like I have a lot of empathy. I'm extremely empathic, which I don't appreciate sometimes, but so I
Right.
feel the feelings really deeply of like, oh, that's so awful and sad, but I am addicted to true crime
I also am.
in a
And
way
I'm
that's
like,
probably not normal.
I don't know. See, like for me, it's like, I don't know, because I'm also addicted to true crime. I wonder if has something to do with our upbringing or something. I don't even
Probably.
know because I mean we're sisters, yes, but we're two individually
Yes.
different people, and we have a lot of the same interests.
A lot. Yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I mean?
That's true.
But it doesn't. I don't know because I was like worried about myself. I was like, this doesn't bother me like they're saying it should bother me.
That's what
It's
I like.
extremely sad,
Yeah, it's
and it's just
sad.
I'm disgusted with the person who has committed these crimes.
Yes.
But it's not. I don't know.
The
I don't know.
only
Like
the only ones that bother me are if they involve kids. Then
kids bother
then
me.
that's
Yeah.
like I listen to it, don't get me wrong. Like I'll listen to like the warning that they're like, "Oh, this is an episode that is going to involve children." So if and I'm like, maybe I don't want to listen to this. And then I'm like, well, I'm just going to see what it's about. And then I listen to the whole thing and I'm like, "Oh." I'm
Right. I
like,
don't
"Oh."
enjoy the children ones. Like I I don't enjoy I enjoy true crime, but I don't like it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You know what I'm talking about
Yeah.
because you also listen to true crime
Yes.
and watch true crime. But I don't know. I was extremely worried about myself there for a little while. But I was like, you know what though? I kind of see it from an inspector or a detective's point of view, where you have to like put that part aside so
Yes.
you can actually get to the meat of the investigation.
Yeah, I could see that. I've thought of actually, like, could I become a police officer? And then go into, like, homicide detection or something like I don't know if I necessarily want to be like a CSI because I don't want to necessarily like be involved with like in my elbow deep of crime scenes, but like
Seeing even stuff like that doesn't even bother me, like crime scene photos.
no, I
It
listen.
doesn't like gross me out or anything. I'm like, is there
Listen,
something wrong with me?
I have a sickness obviously because I don't know if you albeit the crime scene photos that I've looked at are old. So um,
Right.
I probably more than 10 times have looked at Jack the Ripper's crime scene photos.
I have too. I'm not gonna lie,
and
I have too because it's something that interests me a
and
lot.
also Lizzie Borden.
Yep.
Like there are very few. We're talking about the late 1800s for both crime spree, I don't know what you'd call them. And so there aren't a ton of pictures to begin with, but
Right.
especially Jack the Ripper, like even for the degraded old quality, like they are horrific. And
They
it's
are horrific.
it's funny because Lizzie Borden also, especially her father, photos of her father are fairly horrific. But I have also gone that one step further where I have read court transcripts from when they prosecuted her, and the description of her father is even like worse if you can imagine. Like so then you have like this photo and then you have the description and you're like, "Oh, that's yeah, okay." Like
I don't know, like I don't it doesn't bother me like that. You know what I mean? I think it's because my whole life I wanted to know
yeah.
why people do these
Why
things.
do they do it? We don't know. We're not even a true crime podcast, but
We're not,
why
but I
do they
mean,
do it?
I don't know, and I think that's kind of where I'm at when I'm listening to this stuff. You know what I mean, or watching
Yeah.
it. Because we just watched a really good one last night about the Night Stalker. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Oh, on Netflix. Are we
Yeah,
allowed
it
to
was
say
so
that?
good. You have to watch it.
We're not monetized, so I think we're fine. I actually have it on my list, and I still have not watched it yet.
So good.
I
It was so
started
good.
watching this one, and it's funny because I get like it sometimes because it's very like heavy and it's quite depressing, and I feel the weight of my mortality sometimes when I'm watching these shows. I'm like, holy shit, I could die at any second. Like, and then I can't watch it for like a week. So
See, I don't even think of stuff like that. There's something wrong with me, isn't there?
yeah, probably.
I don't even think of my own
Probably.
mortality. I'm like, whatever. It happens, it happens.
Yeah, that's true. So for me, it's like late at night, right before I'm about to go to sleep, and I get like really weird thoughts, and those are the thoughts that kind of like my brain never stops working, so it's like
Mine neither.
yeah, so it is what it is, I guess. But anyway,
Right. I don't know how it's turned into a true crime thing, but
yeah, I
I
love true
enjoyed
crime.
I enjoyed your haunted Disneyland.
Haunted
I want to go see
Disneyland.
this now.
Me too. I want to see some Disneyland ghosties.
I wonder if they have like surveillance video or something of the park at night.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
So I liked this because it's just one of those you don't expect it places,
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
right. Because it's the happiest place on earth, man. It's Disneyland.
Exactly.
Literally,
It's
their slogan is the happiest place on earth.
the freaking Magic Kingdom.
Right.
It's crazy.
I like it.
Yes, I like it too. And if you like it, make sure you subscribe to us. That's it.
Yes, like, share,
Turn
subscribe,
on
hit the notification.
notifications. Of course, you can find us on any social media that you use. I don't use social media very often, but we are there.
We are there. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can also email us at our Gmail, which the link is in the bottom of this. It's going to
Yeah.
be at the bottom of this video. Let us know if you guys have had any paranormal experiences firsthand. We want to know about it.
Yes, we're looking for
Most
personal
definitely.
experiences, stories, ideas, suggestions, anything that you want us to do that's within the realm of our show. If you've watched any of our episodes, you know what we do. And we did get that one suggestion where I would have liked to do it, but it just didn't have a paranormal. It was very true crime, which I've actually listened to other podcasts on it. So
Right.
it was sad.
And
But
it is, yeah. It is true crime. And I would have liked to, I mean, I did do some research into it just to see if it
Yeah.
had a paranormal bend to it, but I couldn't find anything paranormal in that case.
no, yeah, it's a sad, unexplained. I mean, it's terrible. But those are in our comments.
Yeah.
You can maybe scroll through and see what we're talking about because I can't remember exactly what it is. But so we are going to end this. But before I go, hopefully people have watched to this point because I forgot to say this in the beginning. On Monday night, I was on another podcast called The Campfire with Jim Harold. Jim Harold's Campfire. And yes, I'm doing a plug because he let me do a plug. Which, I will be honest, if you go and listen to it, I feel like I was stupid. That my stories were stupid. But we got our name out there, and that's all I care about. That's it.
Yes.
So if you listen to that, listen for me. I'm Rebecca from Colorado. And I do say our podcast name at the end. So.
Yes.
So check that out. I do, The Campfire, Tristan and I have talked about it several times. It's one of those that he does extremely, it's all real life. He takes people's real stories and he puts them on his podcast. That's his whole podcast. And sometimes it can be a bit cringy. And for some reason, I'm addicted to listening to the cringiness of it. But I love Jim Harold. I love his platform, and hopefully you will check that out, as well as our other videos that you can find on YouTube and in podcast form, everywhere you look for them. I don't even know if that made sense, but there you go. So
Anywhere you can find podcasts, pretty much, we're there.
that's right, we're there. So I guess we're done for today.
Yes.
So I'll catch you all on the flip side.
And you all stay creepy.
Peace.